Guys, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already. In today's video, you and I, we're going to be looking at some Victoria Frances artwork. And if you don't know, Victoria Frances is a Spanish illustrator / artist. I first discovered her when I was 16 years old, and her first collection I discovered was Favoli 3. So there are 3 editions of the Favoli collection, and her art is very what I would consider Gothic, what I would consider sort of fairy tale, folk tale. It's got a lot of darkness to it, but it makes you think and it's inspiring. So without further ado, let's get started. So as you can see, this is the Victoria Frances website. It's been a little while since I've been to her website, and it has changed since the last time I've been there, which personally I think is a good thing, because you've got to develop and do your websites often, because otherwise the technologies, they aren't supported anymore. So the collection we're looking at in today's video is the Light in Darkness collection. And that in itself, the name drawed me to it, and it's got several images in, so I'm going to go through each image by image, but please feel free to tell me what they mean to you. And as she is a Spanish artist, I'm going to get some of the pronunciations wrong and things like that, so forgive me for that. But I do hope you enjoy this art as much as I will. Okay, so the first image we've got, it's titled The Lost Lenore. That's how I pronounce it. It's probably wrong, but I really do like this image. Like the greyness and the darkness to it is just, it seems very grueling and devoid of all hope. And based on the title, maybe that's what it's meant to suggest. I tell you what it does remind me of is the fact that a few years ago there was an article on the BBC News website, and that was about the living dead, in which Victorians, in a way to memorise and memorialize, yeah, don't ask me to pronounce that again, their family members, they actually used the corpses and the dead bodies and incorporated them into those photos, and the photographers used some very good tricks to make it seem like they were alive. And as Victorian photography, due to the camera technology, it took a while, so you could imagine maybe what that would have smelt like with a rotting corpse, and you have to sit there with it until the picture is done, is what it reminded me of, especially her eyes. Her eyes are very piercing, as in they glare right at you and they draw you into it, and it reminds me of sort of glass and emptiness. Her skin colour, it seems almost sort of powdery, as if she's either not got a lot of health to us. And even though in the picture this lady has got grey hair, to me she still seems very young. Like, she doesn't seem that old, so the picture would suggest that maybe she's in a hard and grueling times. I love the little brooch she's got in her dress here. It reminds me it could be made of like ivory, and it seems like she would be from like an upper class family, and it does seem Victorian to me. What I do love about this artwork as well is the fact that it's sort of in its own frame, and it was be what I'd imagine someone would either keep like on their fireplace or in the pocket of, to be able to look at their lost loved one and be on the lookout for her, or to show to other people, have you seen this person? And I think this picture, it tells a lot of stories, and I think it's a really good start for the Light in Darkness collection. So the next one we've got, to be honest, probably because I've watched too much Doctor Who, this reminds me of a Weeping Angel, and I love like the stone and coldness of this photo. Like even the flowers and the butterflies, they have their own stone texture, and it's very cold and very, it's basically stone. It's basically saying this is stone, there's not more emotion than that, it is what it is. And the stone to me looks more like a fairy or an angel, and I personally think fairies are generally dark creatures rather than lighter ones, because there's certain stories that suggest fairies lure other children and take them away, and then those becomes fairies and they do the same thing. And this is what I would imagine this photo is about. It's called Dark Sanctuary, which would suggest it's got something more sinister to it, but the angel or the stone is meant to look innocent here. But to me, it doesn't seem very innocent at all. It just has some sort of darkness to it, as if, and it has its eyes closed, as if it can't bear to look at us as viewers, as if it's got something to hide. And a sanctuary, I guess, is supposed to be a place for safety and secureness. And the word dark behind this suggests it's something opposite. I love the use of colour and texture in this image, and I love the little bits of purple because they draw you to each section of the image so you can see more and more detail of it. But this picture itself, I think, to me, has got a very cold and sinister motive to it. What do you think? The next photo, again, another stone sort of angel fairy one, but this one to me, compared to the previous image, seems a lot more innocent and more calm, I guess. There's you can still get the stoneness from the angel itself, but it's got a lot of more light colours and an innocence to it. Like the angel is looking down in almost like a shame or guilt, and again it's got the little purple flowers or maybe even butterflies to draw you to each section of the image. You can see some woodland sort of branches, forestry stuff in this image, and I think this one, compared to the previous one, if we go back, this one's quite dark, whereas this one suggests innocence. And the title, so forgive my pronunciation, is because this one is completely in Spanish, is Nihes Eternales. So Eternales, I guess, is eternals, which would lead more to an angel or a fairy. And this one does seem a lot more innocent and lighter to me, as if, and that angel or the eternal itself seems to feel guilty. It's got a lot more of a calming effect to it and makes me think of more lighter and calmer things than the previous image did. The next one. Okay, so this one is definitely a lot darker than the previous ones. The thing you see first, I guess, is the guy, the man. To me, he's got a very sunken in face. Some traditional vampire folklore suggests that. And he is looking out of the image ominously. You can't see his pupils, but his eyes are open. They're just dark and almost hunger or luring. It's almost like he's trying to lure you into the picture and into the woods behind him. I love his little tailcoat, waistcoat outfit. Again, seems very Victorian. And the man itself, to me, seems very at one with his background. He seems to blend in with the forest. Even his hair almost seems to blend in with the twigs. And it was like if he wasn't looking or staring at us with those dark, piercing eyes trying to lure us towards him. I imagine maybe others would not see him. The title of this one is called mes de diciembre, which means something of December. So maybe time of December, maybe something similar. It's definitely not day, because that would be dia. So yeah, it seems, and this one has got a cold feel to it again. It's got because of the snow again, but this one, rather than dark, and it just seems very luring. It draws you in. It makes you want to think, who is this man? We should go with him. Looking at the background, you want to explore more of the areas in. So why is he here? Why is he looking at us like this? What is his involvement? Next one. Okay, so this one, it's definitely got like a childlike, innocent feel to it to me. I love her dress and I love her shoes. Like, you barely ever see that much detail in shoes with a long dress, but I love how she is focused on the shoes as well. You can even tell her footprints from behind. In here, we can see from the background that she's it seems like the same forest as the previous image. It is similar sort of trees, similar snow, similar weather, and her hair here is very long and innocent. It's almost as if and her looking up at the sky is almost as if she doesn't know what she's doing. She's just walking in the snow towards wherever she's going. Like, she's not looking at us, and she doesn't seem that aware of her surroundings. She's just blindly following and blindly looking at whatever she is looking at. The brooch or the little emblem on the dress reminds me of the same sort of ivory piece of the lady in the first photo, but we can tell here that it's definitely a different dress, but the brooch on it seems the same. And to me, this seems like it's the same girl, because even though in the other photos she looked older, more pasty and grey, here her hair is more of colour. I think it suggests more the innocence and the sort of the presence in this photo, and I think it really connects with the previous one. Maybe he is trying to lure her to wherever or whatever he's going. Yet I've not thought about how this connects to those eternal angel stone statues, but hopefully as we look at more of these pictures we'll be able to see why this girl is in the forest. But she definitely doesn't seem to be like awake. She seems to be in some sort of haze or distraction. So maybe he is hunting her, and that is what he's looking at. He's luring her towards him and he's staring at her. Okay, so the next one. Okay, so this one is, I think it's got the same feel to me as the stone and the angel eternal pictures. It's got the same coldness, same stoneness to it, the same sort of forest, but you can see because it's also got all the purple flowers again. So maybe this lady is something to do with the so-called Eternals. Maybe she's the leader, maybe she's in charge, or maybe she's like their scout. I don't know. You can see in this, we've not just got flowers, we've also got butterflies. And butterflies to me always suggest a childlike innocence or a new life, because a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. And to me, this lady, she doesn't seem overly innocent herself. Her eyes seem, and her face and her facial expression to me seem like she knows what she's doing and she's watching her work or whatever action she made happen basically take place. I like how the butterflies are incorporated into the flowers, is almost as a juxtaposition between whatever this lady's motives are, the butterflies and childlike innocence. It's again got its very cold feel and it feels very wintry, but her eyes, her facial expression, even her posture and her hair to me suggests she is important. So perhaps she is like the Eternals royalty or something like that. That's what it would suggest to me. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the name of that one. Okay, so this one is definitely like a lot darker. To me, this is the girl we saw in the previous photo here, but this time something has happened to her. She is clearly not having a sleep in the snow. She's clearly been hurt or bruised, or her expression and her posture and her place in the snow really suggests something sinister here has happened. Her eyes seem like they're almost bruised or broken, and the purple butterflies and flowers here have returned. So to me, it seems like this lady here has done something to her. So perhaps this man here had nothing to do with the law. He was just watching from afar. Yeah, to here you get a lot of innocence from this photo, like someone's sleeping, they're not able to harm anyone, but clearly something has happened to her here. And I love how all the detail from the previous version of her photo has been put here. So you've got the brooch, how her hair flows, how her nose and her eyes and her dress, you can definitely tell it's the same girl. And I love that. To me, this, because it is the same girl, it does suggest these images are telling one story, so everyone is involved in what they see. So the next photo we've got, okay, so we're back to the stone angel ones. Again, it's very stone. There's hardly any colour to this image at all. It's very, oh, something has happened. The angel seems to be hidden behind a tree, so perhaps the eternal or the angel witnessed whatever happened to this girl, or she's standing over the body of this girl from the previous photo looking down upon her. We've got a very wintry feel to this again, and here though, compared to some of the other angel films, you get more emotion from the angel here, as you can get some guilt or some shame, I think. And yeah, it's very ominous, her presence, because the rest of the photo is almost white and blended in the snow, but the harshness of the stone in the image to me is really suggesting her presence in this one. Next image. Okay, so this one is completely different from the other ones. So we've got a lady, it's almost like a portrait or a photo. An older lady, I don't know if she's related to the girl or the man we've seen in the previous ones. Is this her granddaughter? I would suggest she's too old to be her daughter. Is this her granddaughter, or is this someone who's looking for her? Or I don't know. I don't know what to think about this lady. The dolls are creepy. I don't know about anyone else, but I always find Victorian dolls and dollies creepy. Just creepy. The way they stare, their glass eyes. They're all staring at us in this photo. They're almost guarding the portrait of the picture. It's got a wooden sort of cabin feel, this one to me. It's got like, or it's almost as if it was carved in a tree, and the dolls here are protecting the work that has been made. So yeah, this one seems, I can't place how this older lady would fit in this story yet, but hopefully some other pictures may be able to help us. Next one. Okay, so we're back to the creepy dolls, and they're especially more creepy in this because they're all staring outwards, apart from that one that is looking down as in shame or guilt. One of them looks scared, the other looks just placent, and the one in the front, the prominent one, It looks like it's almost being protective of the others and telling someone to go. I think it somewhat relates to the previous one because of the dolls in the image, and you can also tell that they're in some sort of cabin similar to the wherever this portrait is. And I think maybe these dolls were either this lady's, or maybe this lady is the woman's grandmother and the dolls belong to the girl. I don't know. It seems out of place, this one. But dolls are just creepy to me. I don't like them. And you can definitely tell they're dolls. It's not like they're meant to look human. They do look like dolls. Next one. Okay, so we've got a cabin in the same sort of woods that we've seen the girl and the man and the little stone creatures in. And this cabin to me seems like the same cabin these dolls and this portrait would be in. So is this where this woman lives, or is this where this girl was heading before she was struck down by whatever creature or thing that hurt her? The cabin is in isolation, but it's got a lot more of a homey feel, this cabin, to me, more than the coldness of all the other photos. So yeah, I think maybe this is where this girl was heading before she was hurt, and this is this lady's cabin and her dolls. Maybe this woman was going to visit her grandmother and then got caught up in some sinister motives of this lady and this man. We don't really know much about him yet. Okay, next one. Okay, so we've got the older lady here on the floor this time. She definitely doesn't seem alive. Her eyes don't give us any life, and she's buried in the snow as if she were killed in her sleep, or it's almost as if something was unexpected and she was struck down. And we've got a doll again looking over her in innocence and shame. The doll is almost saying, why did you do this? What happened? And I don't think this lady is definitely not alive. She's definitely been hurt. Or maybe she died of old age or something, but to me she'd rather do it in the cabin rather than here. So perhaps this is just outside her cabin or to the side. Okay, so here we're going to another stone one, but this time instead of snow and coldness we've got almost autumn, because we've got leaves falling from the tree. This angel here seems to be just overlooking. She doesn't seem to feel any shame or guilt or whatever has happened. She's just looking at what happened. And I think it's definitely a different season than this one, because this one has the leaves falling from the tree. And I would think that this is the same forest, because we've still got the branch and the leaves and the splatters. So I reckon maybe some time has moved on now, and now we're into autumn. So maybe there's been a time jump from these women were killed, and now we're into autumn and the angels have returned because something has happened. Okay, so now we've got a girl again in some sort of stone building, and if we look at the title of this image, it's called Le Tribunal, which would suggest maybe a tribunal or a trial. And to me, this girl here seems very nervous, and she seems to be a different girl than this girl that we've seen here. And it's very patient in this photo. She seems very innocent. It's almost as if she's in disbelief of her fate. The room she's in seems very small. She's only got a small window. So what is she having a trial or a tribunal for? What do we know about her? She doesn't seem very as well off as the previous girls we saw. Her outfits and things to me suggest maybe she's from a workhouse or from a poor environment. So what happened to this lady? Why is she on a trial or in a tribunal? Okay, so again we've got a similar image of the same lady, I think, because their nose, they've got a very similar nose picture, and this time she is in handcuffs, in chains. So something happened, perhaps. Maybe this lady found both the bodies and they've accused her of having something to do with it. Maybe that's while she was waiting for a trial or something to happen. And here now she seems to be chained, as if they've accused her of it and they're just going to see justice wanting to take place. Her hands are together in prayer, as if she's praying for them to see the right thing, that it wasn't her, and she seems very sad and in despair. But we seem to be in the same stone background as this one, I think, just at another side, but she's definitely chained up in this one. Okay, so here something has happened to this girl. She's got blackened eyes, and yeah, she's definitely got blood. Something's happening to her nose, and there's blood running into her mouth and down her neck. To me, she doesn't seem like she's dead, because her eyes still suggest she's got some life to them. So maybe something happened to her when she was in prison. Maybe she was captured, or maybe she was hurt by whoever put her in chains. And something about this title, I'm not going to pronounce it, but it does use the word deliverance. And maybe this is what her so-called trialers or something thought she deserved for supposedly hurting some other people. But she definitely seems more down and sullen, but you can tell she's still got a little bit of fight in her in this picture. She's gritting her teeth. And in this one, we've got the return of the leaves, and I think that suggests we're still in the autumn period, so perhaps this is why. So if we go to the next one, okay, so this one is a completely different feel. It seems to happen very similar time to the previous one, because she's still got the scar on her nose here and the blood running down her. But this one is much more sinister and more accepting, because she's got a noose hanging around her neck, as if what I think has happened is maybe this lady was accused of the murders of the old lady and the other girl in the snow. Instead of maybe perhaps the real culprits being the eternal stone angels and the man we saw earlier, because we only ever saw one picture of him. Here she's looking down, as if not to look at those executing her for a crime she didn't commit. She's looking down in defiance, as if to say, no, you do this, but I'm not the real culprit, and I'll have some real justice when I die. She's definitely here accepted her fate. She's definitely got a strong look on her face to say, you can do this, but you won't break me. And yeah, I think it's quite a sad ending, but it tells a story. Here the girl seems quite young. Again, she seems very, very young. And maybe it's because of the blood and the noose. You want to feel sorry for her. You want to wonder, what has she done to deserve whatever this is? Okay, so now we're back to the beginning. Overall, I really like her artwork. It gives you so many ideas, so many inspirations, so many thoughts. To me, these images told a story, but what do they tell to you? What I will do is in the description put a link down to this gallery and the website of Victoria Frances, so that you can go have a look yourself. So what did you think of these images? Do you get the same feelings of darkness and story to me? But it's things like this and how much they make me think is why she is one of my favourite artists. So yeah, do you think it's a similar story to me, or do you think it's something else? What do you think happened? which one of these images is your favourite. I think even though the darkness to it, my favourite image of these is the one with the noose around her neck, so the last one in the collection. It tells a lot to me and it makes me wonder who she is, what she's done, and I want to know more about her. So let me know what you think of Victoria Frances. If this video gets some good feedback, I will do a similar react video on the other collection available on her website. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.